my name is Hamza. I was born and raised in Lebanon, and I think one of the things that made me end up here, especially in the US, was the fact that I went to an international school in Norway called UWC. Um, there, I met students from all around the world. I lived with students from all around the world. For example, I always like to give this example that my roommate was from Denmark, and then I had another one was from Cameroon, and I have another one from Spain.
Okay.
So growing up in it was like in high school, I it was totally it was a whole different experience. That's where I get to um, kind of learn more about the entrepreneurship world through different teachers, different mentors there. And yeah, my journey from there, I applied to multiple American universities, and I was super lucky to be accepted to St. Olaf College. Um, Now I do go to St. Olaf College, and I'm studying economics and computer science at the same time.
Nice. That's
And
a good
currently,
combination.
right now, yes. Currently, right now, I just became a junior. Um, the semester just started today, so super exciting for what semester is hiding for us.
Yeah. So we're here today to talk about your company that you started.
Mhm.
Um, so where did the idea for Leafy Goods come from? Was there
Yeah,
something that sparked it? Like where did it come from?
yeah. Um, so to lay down the foundation of this idea, it all starts from in Lebanon. So my dad works in the tableware industry, meaning that he sells mostly plastic, like plastic plates, plastic spoons, plastic forks, all these kind of different things. Also, growing up, our house or our apartment, we had a balcony where there was a park in front of us. It was like kind of like a kindergarten park. So I remember during the fall season, um, the park outside was just always blanked with sorry, with leaves. It was so many leaves. I remember the kids always used to trip with the on the leaves, like fall there. And yeah. And I remember one thing about Lebanon is that the infrastructure, disposing infrastructure was not developed. So what people actually were mostly frustrated with the leaves. So what they used to do with the leaf, they used to burn the leaves there, and that was like the beginning stage of the like, oh my god, people are actually burning leaves. Nobody like is using leaves. We should make something. We should build up something from leaves. Um, and then there was this transition where I went to the international school in Norway. I saw more leaves there, but at least there they had a disposing system, like machinery and stuff. But it was just so many leaves, so much piles of leaves, especially in Norway. Um, Fast forward, I'm in Minnesota, and it's more leaves than ever.
We have lots of
And
leaves.
yep, a lot of leaves. And I think that it was the moment where I was like, oh my god, this is an actual problem. Where I was leaving one of my dorm when I was a sophomore, and I was just stepping on leaves. It was just so many leaves, and in a way, I just connected all the different points. Like, oh, my dad works in this industry. I'm into those countries, blah blah blah, and what are the odds we could make this happen? I did the like initial research, and I found out that there was a company in Ukraine already doing something similar, where they're turning the leaves into paper, um, like paper bags and stuff. So I thought of that idea, and at the same time, we had the Ole Cup, the applications running. So I'm like, oh my god, this is perfect timing. I guess they're gonna provide me with mentors. They're gonna provide me with the resources while
Yeah.
I'm building this. So that was kind of the the spark of this whole
So
thing.
so everything kind of just came together for
Came-
you of like
e-
seeing the
Exactly.
big picture together.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so let's talk a little bit about the Ole Cup. What was your experience like getting ready for that? Were you nervous? Like, did you
Mhm.
know what to expect?
I think, to be honest, in my opinion, the Ole Cup is it is one of the experiences that I'm super most grateful about here at St. Olaf. Um, the fact that such a small college like St. Olaf, they're trying their best to give us, those resources and those opportunities. It's just
Yeah.
absolutely awesome. With the Oli Cup itself, I think the initial things that I did with the Oli Cup was, because they always have all like the previous competitors, all the previous competitions online.
Yep.
My first thing was to go like, oh my God, I'm just gonna go to listen to different pitches. I've never did a pitch in my entire life. I've never built a deck. So I think the first thing was, just going to the like the the sorry, like the previous years and
Yep.
just look at their pitches, see what they did. I did apply, but at the same time, I think I've talked with Megan, which is the person who's in charge of all the entrepreneurship on campus.
Yep.
I did talk with her about the idea of Leafy Goods before I applied. So I don't know. I felt like, like I made sure that my name is there with this idea
Yep.
and that I'm working on it. I applied, and I was fortunate enough to be accepted to the previous year's cohort. Um, the work, I think, the first thing they did was giving us mentors, assigning us with mentors, especially alumni mentors. So I remember the first meeting was us just talking to different St. Olaf founders.
Yeah.
Like it was like a 10 minute, not a 10 minute, actually just 1 minute pitch, like elevator pitch. You go
Yeah.
there, blah blah blah, tell them what's your idea, and then they actual like questions. What like how are you gonna make money? I guess what is your business model? Like all the questions.
That's always the main question. How are you going
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
money?
How are you gonna make money? Yeah. And the good thing about that meeting was it was during it was it was one of the first few meetings, so I didn't have any like most of the competitors, we didn't have any pitch decks. We just had like
Right.
the idea.
Yep.
So it was definitely a good place where they made us start thinking of like like, oh, like you're actually building a business right now as a startup, so you need to think of all of these different questions.
Yeah.
And from there it was all workshops about building pitch decks, workshops about storytelling, workshops about so many things I don't even remember, but one of them that I yeah, one of them that I remember is the one at the Ignite Minnesota, Red Wing. The one was about building the pitch deck, and I think that one was definitely super helpful to me. um, the fact that you guys made us envision or like see how the pitch deck is gonna look like and actually get the papers and start draw and make the pitch deck was absolutely awesome. It definitely challenged my creativity to
Yep.
see how I'm gonna represent my idea, especially because it's like an environmental idea. So all the workshops that you guys provided, with the Saint Olaf with the Ole Cup, they were super super important. I think, in my opinion.
Awesome. Well, I like to hear that, so thank you.
Yeah,
Talk to me a little bit about how it felt to do the actual pitch that day, and like what was that
yeah,
experience like? Were you nervous going in,
hmm
or were you like just knew
yeah.
you were gonna kill it?
I think like previously, I feel like I've had a lot of like not I wouldn't say pitches, like more of like presentations, like different
Yeah.
competitions where I'm presenting. And I feel like growing up through the high school, through like my own work that I did, I've built up this courage to actually go there and stand up.
Yeah.
But pitching was totally different to me. It was a new thing. I'm pitching actually to something that's something that I'm building, something for myself. Um, it was a bit challenging, to be honest, where you go into the stage and then people are listening to you. You're thinking, oh my god, they're judging me. Are they judging my business? Does it sound good to them, or do they like my business model? But I think with me, it's only just the first 10 seconds, and I do just get into the flow, and from there, I guess it was history.
Yeah.
It's the experience itself, like it was. I think I've tried. I made sure that I gave it my best, so I made sure that I practiced so much before the pitch, with different coaches on campus,
Yeah.
and I made sure that I asked them about, you know, like literally all the different things, like
Every
details.
little
How,
piece.
yeah, every little
Yeah.
piece. How is my voice? How is my posture? Like, yeah.
Well, you clearly did a great job because you ended up
Thank you.
winning the first place. Um, what from there, you got an immediate next round into the Minnesota Cup.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about that because a lot of people don't get to that point where you were. So,
Yeah.
how was that experience? Was it different than Ole Cup? Was it?
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about how
Yeah.
different?
So the Minnesota Cup experience was actually, it was super interesting to me, because last summer because I also had an internship, and I was also competing in the Minnesota Cup.
Yeah,
Um, to give you kind of like some context for the internship, I was working in a venture capital. Um, it was called Traction Capital, and it's all about entrepreneurs and
yeah,
like running different companies using the EOS, and so I was surrounded by actual entrepreneurs.
yeah,
Um, for the Minnesota Cup itself, I was since I won the St. Olaf, I was automatically in the semifinal rounds. Um, with the Minnesota Cup, the first things that they do is, after you get accepted to semifinals, is they ask you to go to like a list of mentors, go through their profiles, and see which ones that actually make sense to mentor you.
okay,
So I I did apply for, like, I think it was like my max five mentors, and I get two from them. And I think the two mentors were definitely super helpful. I get a mentor who's in the business field and a mentor who is in the R&D field. So it was like, kind of like
nice.
complementary to each other.
Yeah,
Um, the I think the biggest difference was from St. Olaf was that with the Minnesota Cup for the semifinal rounds was, they ask you for an actual pitch deck, where what I mean is that, like, an actual, like, investment pitch where you're not pitching. So, but comparing it to St. Olaf, my pitch deck was me on the stage talking.
yeah.
So I had, in a way, I had to build a new deck, or refine the previous one that I had.
So you had to
And
have something that would speak for you instead of
exactly.
you being there to
Me,
speak.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I found that a bit challenging and a bit hard to me, because I'm someone who's always there. I want to talk. I want to actually, like, I feel like better when I'm like talking to the person one to one, or like talking to a group.
yeah.
So that was a challenge, that I faced. And then they asked for more in-depth financial documents, meaning, like, the 5 years projections,
Yeah.
more detailed balance sheets, and all these things. And they were all documents that I didn't have for the St. Olaf. So most of my time for that semi-final rounds was just working on those documents. Um, Unfortunately, I didn't advance to the final rounds, but it was mostly because I had just so many things going on during that summer, and I
Yeah.
just couldn't give all my time, give all the best to the Minnesota Cup. But I was super fortunate with the things that they give. We had like 4 different workshops where I did go there and I networked and I get to learn about all the different amazing ideas there that they're working with. And I think even though I didn't win the Minnesota Cup, I'm super grateful that I'm part of this network right now, of
Yeah.
this entrepreneurship community here in Minnesota. I met awesome people, awesome mentors that, they told me like, whatever happens, we're always there to help you.
Yeah.
We're always there to, support you here in Minnesota. So that was for me was a prize by itself, to be honest.
That's cool. Any thoughts about applying again for the Minnesota Cup in the future? Is
Yeah,
that still an option?
yeah. We're definitely gonna be applying again.
Okay.
Uh, we're gonna have a small pivot though, with
Okay.
with a different idea. I say same concept but with a different product.
Okay.
Um, so hopefully, yeah, we will
Okay.
be
All right.
reapplying.
Awesome. Um, so let's talk about your journey, not just the
Yeah,
competitions that you've been a part of. But what do you feel like the biggest thing that you've learned so far, either about your business or about
yeah,
yourself through these process?
yeah. I think I think like the previous experience, like the past experience. What I mean is, especially the Ole Cup, the Minnesota Cup, and my internship. I
Yeah.
think they were super instrumental in shaping who I am gonna be. And then this might sound uh, a bit too much, but I think
Yeah.
they were super instrumental in defining who am I gonna be in the next few years. And what I mean by that, those experiences actually reinforced my love for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Um, I think when I was surrounded, especially working at the venture capital, just listening to so many different ideas, just talking to founders, talking to entrepreneurs, just made me think that this is actually the career path that I want to pursue. That I want to pursue a career in. This is what actually makes my brain start, running, firing up. And I think I'm super grateful that I'm here in Minnesota right now, that I'm part of this community. And looking back at it, I'm just super grateful that I literally have all the resources like you guys, especially the Ignite Minnesota, the St. Olaf coaches, and yeah. So it's definitely those experiences shaped who I'm gonna be.
Yeah. How do you balance the excitement side of things with the challenges of building a startup? How do you
Yeah,
keep yourself motivated when stuff gets hard?
yeah. Um, that's a good question. One example that I always love to give from this summer. Um, I lived with I lived in a house with 4 people that I know, and we had a different startup literally every single day. Every
Okay.
single week, we were working on a
New
different idea,
ideas.
or new ideas. And I think the biggest challenge was for us, or like the biggest thing that I learned was nailing down the idea, the ideation before you do anything.
Yeah.
So, I was telling you, like we had a different idea literally every day, but the challenging part was actually sitting down and getting this idea to papers, getting like building the business model around it, and doing all the nitty gritty work behind it. Because an idea by itself, it just can't do anything for you.
Right. Right. You got to
You get
put some meat on the
some
bones.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah. What advice would you give? You talked about the other
yeah.
students and their ideas. What advice would you give them, or somebody who's thinking about becoming an entrepreneur?
Uh,
What advice would you give somebody just starting out on the
yeah.
journey that you're on?
I think the first one that, in my opinion, is going to be like super super helpful is be open to learn. I think when you have an idea, you think, in your opinion, you have everything figured out.
Yeah.
But what I learned is that every time that I talk to different people, every time that I talk to a different person, sorry, when I talk to different mentors, they always they always had those questions that I never thought about. And if I wasn't willing to ask them about the different questions so far, or if I wasn't willing to actually just schedule a meeting with them, I would only like I would have only thought that everything's perfect. My startup is perfect. Literally, I have everything figured out. But the more that I talk to people, the more that I talk to mentors, the more that I talk to coaches, the more that I get into this. It's not a rabbit hole. It's just more I get into this loop of feedback and just refining, feedback and refining.
Yep.
The second thing is in the ideation is in the idea phase. Just you need to nail down all of your idea. You need to nail down the idea, um, especially around the business model. How are you going to make money? It's
Yep.
like, to be honest, they're like ideas by themselves. This is the biggest thing that I learned this summer. The ideas by themselves can't do anything to you. It's you. How are you gonna convey this idea? How are you gonna convey this message and build a business around it? And that is it is the hardest part, I think, in my opinion, about building a startup, is convincing that this idea or this startup is actually going to be helpful. So nailing down the idea is would be my second thing. And third is absolutely leveraging all the resources that you can. Um, at St. Olaf, I made sure that whatever resource on campus, whatever resource off campus, I reached out to people. I made sure that I'm like to be part of the entrepreneurship community. I made sure that I reached out to people. I made sure that I applied for different programs, different career launches, literally everything. There's so many resources, there's so many things out there that you could potentially you should leverage as someone who's thinking of getting into entrepreneurship or just a startup in general.
Yeah, we do have a lot of great resources
Exactly.
throughout the state.
Mhm.
So, and especially at St. Olaf, they are doing a great job of that. So let's talk about the future of LeafyGoods. What are the
Mhm.
immediate next things that you're aiming to do, and like where are things
Yeah.
at with the company itself right now?
Yeah. So for this school's term, I have three main goals for Leafy Goods. The first one is um, I'm gonna be working with a new co-founder,
Okay,
someone who's more
that's a
technical.
big leap.
It is a bit, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna work with a new co-founder, who is more into the chemical, technical, all that work. And
yep,
I'm also this is part of the goal. I want to find a professor on campus who is willing to be potentially even a new co-founder with us too, just to add credibility and actually be there to support with all the technicals for Leafy Goods. The second goal is we're gonna have a new pivot for Leafy Goods. Um, we're not 100% yet sure how we're gonna kind of show it to the people.
yeah.
Um, we're working on it. It's not completely yet done, and
Secret,
hopefully
secret mission.
secret missions exactly. It's gonna be a tiny pivot, but we think it's gonna be definitely helpful. It's gonna solve a challenge that we faced.
Okay,
Um, the third goal, potentially after this semester, so that means after 4 months, is to raise money. Because we believe that within the 4 months we're gonna nail down all the prototyping,
yeah.
all the technicals, and from there we're gonna have a prototype ready, um, an idea ready, business model ready, everything's ready, and hopefully we're gonna start raising money. Um, and yeah, I think those are the next three immediate steps for Leafy Goods.
Okay. That's very exciting, and I can't wait to find out what the secret is. How do you see Leafy Goods making an impact in the community in the next 3 to 5 years? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah. I think one of the main messages LeafyGoods will try to do our best is to actually teach the people that that all the compostable things that they have in their lives right now, they are not as green as they think they are. Just to give you like a super quick example, that most what they call paper compostable products right now, they require so much water and they require so much trees. um, People cut a lot of trees to produce your what's called like like compostable, my compostable plate, that it's like actually environmentally healthy, whatever. But in reality, I would say most of those products are not. So for Leafy Goods, as one thing that we're gonna work on is teaching the people. Um, so one of our missions is definitely going to be around actually showing them the reality of actually what's an like a healthy product. It's not a healthy product, more of like
A more
a
sustainable,
more sustainable product.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a huge thing because people think they're doing this great thing by, I mean, there's even cities that have mandated
yeah,
like the use of those compostable items, but they don't really know the actual impacts or environmental impacts of those.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's a
So
good
and
education
yeah, and
opportunity.
and another thing is we're hoping to be the first company here in the U.S., um, like the first company to repurpose leaves in the
Yeah.
U.S. in general, because no one is doing it right now.
Yeah.
There's only one company in Europe that's doing it, so we're hoping to be the first one, the leading in the U.S. And it's just it sounds super exciting and at the same time scary. Um,
Right?
but it's a challenge, and we're willing to take. It's a challenge that we're willing to take.
Yeah. Um, Looking back, is there something that you wish you had known before you started out on this journey that you have learned maybe the hard way or
Yeah,
hasn't been as comfortable as you'd like?
yeah. I think I don't know. Me personally, I'm someone who enjoys working by myself. But however, um, it's really hard working as a solo entrepreneur. I think
Yeah.
looking back at it right now, I would have definitely found a partner or founded a co-founder to build this whole thing with me from the beginnings. Um, and especially someone who I'm not that old yet, so I don't have an experience in a specific industry or field.
Yep.
I think I don't know, as a young entrepreneur, I think one thing that I would have done is definitely surround myself with partners or co-founders. So not take this whole thing by myself, not building this whole thing by myself. Just looking out there and asking people to help. I think
Yeah.
what also like one thing that I found was hard. It was more of a personal thing. It was actually just asking people for help, like asking friends, what do you think of this thing, or asking a professor, like does this business model make sense? I think looking back at it, that would have made a lot of my work easy. Not
Well, and
easy,
it's
more
it's
yeah,
yeah, it's a
not
scary thing to do, right?
yeah,
It's you're putting kind of yourself out there and it's very vulnerable to
yeah,
put your ideas out in front of people and say, what do you think about this?
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. And just to add, I mean, looking back at it right now, I mean, people were saying like, "Wow, you're building all this thing by yourself," but it was super hard. It was actually it's draining as a as a solo founder.
well,
Um,
especially when you're juggling school as
or
well
juggling, yeah,
and an
and
entrepreneur
internships. Yeah,
internship. Yeah, like that's a lot.
yeah.
It's a lot.
So my probably looking back at it is definitely like whatever next business I want to pursue or I
Yeah.
want to build is I'm definitely gonna have a co-founder or a partner.
Well, I'm glad that you're finding your people and like getting things
Yeah.
going that way. So that's good. Um, the last thing I want to ask is just where can people learn more about Leafy Goods or follow or support you and your work? Where are you
Yeah.
on social media? Is there a website? What does that
Okay.
look like?
So unfortunately, we don't have anything right now, but one of the goals for this term, again, for LeafyGoods is to get our social, our social media packet ready. So
Okay.
that means we are going to be working on all the websites, all those different social medias, and hopefully when it's ready, I'll be more than happy to share it with you guys,
Yeah.
and just give it to everyone. But right now, unfortunately, we don't have anything. It's
Okay.
it's it's more of like people
You're
like
still
reaching
in
out to me personally.
secret building mode.
I guess. But
Well,
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
As
in the
soon as
future
you
we should.
have it,
Yep.
we would love to share it and help support you however we can because we love what you're doing. So
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for the chat and do well this semester. And we'll check back in with you and see how things are going.
Thank you so much.
All
Yeah, I
right.
mean, to be honest, I also want to thank you guys, the Ignite Minnesota. Um, Again, that workshop that we had there, the Ole Cup was super helpful.
Good.
It was me personally, I didn't like it. I didn't like it when I started doing it, but then when I was actually was actually drawing how my pitch deck's gonna look like, I was amazed. I was amazed. I was amazed that my brain could produce something like that.
Well,
So that
you
was
clearly did a good job. So
yeah. So I really want to thank you guys. I really want to thank you for being around this community, building this community around entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs. And I'm just super grateful for you guys. Thank you.
all right. Well, thank you too. Have a good rest of your day and we'll be in touch soon. Okay.
Yes. Thanks so
All
much.
right.
Bye.
Bye.